Hey everyone, it's Tyler Cavalli and Jacob Roth here on this beautiful day as we're here in downtown Aurora, as we're at Aurora Meat Block for another edition of KRVN Sizzling across Nebraska, the Red Meat Road Trip. I don't know about you, Jacob, but I'm super excited about this one. Obviously, thanks to our great sponsors, Cross Diamond Cattle, Cross Diamond Meats in Bertrand, the Dawson County Cattlemen, obviously the Nebraska Beef Council is putting on the Nebraska Beef Passport, which is the reason why we are here, and of course the Nebraska Cattlemen as well. But already above us, for our radio listeners can't see, but have the big old cow up top here in downtown Aurora, kind of signifying where we're at here, Aurora Meat Block.
Well, no, and I think it's another thing that we've noticed as we've gone from place to place to place. It feels like a lot of facilities, just because of the nature of how things went, have kind of grown out of these locations. Because if you can't tell, we're just on the corner of K and 13th in Aurora.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of town. It's not some big facility that had to move somewhere else as of yet. It's still here, and really excited to kind of get to hear more as we kind of head and catch up, but you can't miss it. I'm looking forward to the stop just from the outside of it.
All right, so let's go in and learn more here at the Aurora Meat Block as KRVN Sizzling across Nebraska continues. All right, we are back. We are here in Aurora as another stop here of KRVN's Sizzling across Nebraska, the Red Meat Road Trip. We're here at Aurora Meat Locker as we're talking with Brent Winfield, who's the owner and operator here, as we're standing in this nice, cool locker, by the way, which is a hot day outside, so this is a good spot to be.
Right, when it gets hot in here, we get nervous, so it's a cool place to be.
Let's talk about your operation here. You and your wife own this location.
Yep.
And talk about why you guys decided to become owners of a meat locker.
I actually had no plans to ever own a butcher shop. I used to cut meat down in Custom Pack in Hastings. I was going to college there. My wife was going to college. And the 08-09 economy really sucked. I heard there was work up here. So I started coming here after I graduated college. And day two working for Jerry, he owned the place at the time. He says, a little short, fat guy goes, "You like working here?" And I said, yeah. I mean, what do you say on day two? Yeah, I just turned 21. And he says, "Well, you better buy it because I'm selling it." And I thought, oh, I just found a job. So that's how it was kind of thrown at us, and Jerry treated us very, very well. That's how we got it.
And how's it evolved since the beginning of then with Jerry to now?
A massive amount. We now have 2 food trucks. We do a lot of catering, proms, weddings. We did Hampton's prom, Sutton's prom. We do lots of stuff. We have a big smoker, so we do a lot of retail products. We've expanded our retail by, I can't even tell you how much. And we do a few more head every week than we ever did before.
Having 2 food trucks is something that you don't hear often with those meat lockers. How'd you guys get into that?
Yeah, that's because my wife is a wonderful cook. She's actually got her bachelor's in accounting. She used to do public auditing. She was a chief financial officer for Grain Place Foods. But we really like to cook, like to do all that. And the food truck became a thing before they were cool. It was before COVID when we tried that. We did a lot of baking out of it. And I was a bad husband. I was grouchy. It was extra work. I didn't buy a butcher shop to be a traveling carny. But here we are trying to do all this. And then it got busy. And actually, I've kind of grown to really like it. The new one that we got in October, it's got 2 deep fat fryers and 1 oven, where the other one has 2 ovens and mixers. So anything from cakes, and we make everything from scratch. That's our thing. We make homemade French fries. So when we're doing our pulled pork, we make the pulled pork in the smoker, and then we have it ready so we can make nachos with the French fries, because homemade French fries always taste better. So anything homemade.
Yeah, always better.
Yeah.
Homemade always does taste a little bit better. You brought up kind of 2020 with the food truck side of things, but 2020 was also a big year for a lot of meat lockers. Obviously, that felt like it was a busy time for a lot of folks, but talk about the aftermath and how that's kind of continued here at Aurora Meat Block.
So it's kind of nifty. Sometimes we get people still call in because they remember when we had locked door policies like everybody else, and they say, "Can we just stop in and get a hamburger?" I'm like, absolutely. You can just walk right on in. Yeah. There's been kind of a permanent change in people. Everybody knows now that you can't just stop and get something booked right away. We hear a lot of people planning to book their animals more in advance. So.
When you kind of compare it to how things have changed, do you feel like you've stayed busy, or how has that shifted in terms of how frequently you've got to work through stuff and work with individual people?
So I don't know how honest a lot of butcher shop owners are, but I mean, I'll be honest. We were very busy up until this past January, February. Beef prices are at all-time high, and they keep going higher. The numbers of beef out there are just lower, so it's first world country shortage. It just costs more. So we see a lot of people that used to get a whole beef go down to a half. People that used to get a half a beef go into a quart. It's the same names I see year after year, but they're just getting a lot less of it. So we see people getting a lot more of the retail, and we're kind of really happy to be hedged. We have a very large retail. It's about 2/3 of our income versus the custom is a third, where when Jerry owned the place it was the other way around. But having also the food trucks, even the people that don't really have the money for a quarter of beef, we still see them same people at the music festival and buying the nachos and the. Yep. So it's, I don't know how to explain it. It's different. You see people spend their money different. I guess that's the biggest change.
Again, we're talking to Brent Winfield, who is the owner-operator of Aurora Meat Block, as we're here in Aurora, as again part of KRVN Sizzling across Nebraska. All right, you're from ag background as well. We were talking about it before we started recording. You obviously are now involved in ag, but in a different way. Why is it important for Nebraskans to be involved with local meat lockers like this?
Honestly, it's a world picture. I mean, they're feeding America. A lot of it's heritage. You just grow up. You can look at a beef as you're driving down I-80 and it just looks like yard art. But when you get up to it and you're working it and you actually know that animal, I mean, there's a lot more going on than just feeding it. There's a living organism there that makes more living organisms that we eat, and we make more living organisms. Kind of a food chain thing.
Obviously, we have some cows for our radio listeners. We have a couple of cattle that are hanging behind us. But what else do you guys offer here in terms of livestock or just animals in general that you guys process?
We do hogs. We dry cure everything the old-fashioned way, so it's we don't have some of the fancy equipment. It was great to work at Custom Pack and see some of that, sure. But I just don't like it like a tumbler. We dry cure the old-fashioned way, so it takes like 6-7 days just to make bacon. That's what we offer. Slower, steadier. I come up with a phrase I really like. Anybody can't see on the radio, I have 32 bridges. Don't outgrow your bridges. I like the size we are.
I like that.
You know, really cool stuff there. We talk about, we kind of ask about and get a lot of different answers when it comes to the wild game. Do you guys dabble into that when November time rolls around, or do you stick mostly to the beef and hog side of things?
Deer is a 4-letter word, like, well, figure it out. We never used to really. When I come here, when Jerry owned the place, they quit doing a wild game. They were short on help, and that's how I got a job here. But it was just one of those things. It was just too much. And I enjoy hunting. We always make it back up to the family ranch north of Arnold to go. It's a family thing. But the young man I got working for me, Ed, just loves to work and just absolutely is a great kid. And he wants to do it, so we've gotten more into it. We did 56 last year. So we have coolers in all different sections. We can keep the deer separate from the beef and pork. We don't really shut down to do it separate. We just keep the plant separate. So,
what's interesting when you walk in, Brent, to this facility, which first time I've ever been in here, you get to see everything. I mean, you guys are cutting up meat. I mean, it's all right there. Obviously, where you can buy things as well when you first walk in. But talk about the facility and also your people as well.
Well, that's back to the thing. Everybody locally says, man, you ought to expand or build a bigger place. That 32 bridges, I like it because right where you walk in is right where we're cutting the meat, about 30 foot away, where you're surrounded when you walk in by different retail cuts that you can buy, and you walk through one door where we're at, right where we're cutting meat, and it's where the cooler is. 20 foot down is where it's a small plant, but I guess I can keep an eye on everything.
No, it definitely gives you everything's within an arm's reach is a good way to put it. If someone is going around stamping the beef passport alongside with us here, what is kind of your big draw? Hey, come here to Aurora, come to the Aurora Meat Block and get your beef passport stamped, get a couple retail cuts. What's your kind of sales pitch, for lack of a better term, for why folks should swing on by?
I'd say my personality. It's not always clean. I mean, when you play with your meat for a living, it's just the way it is. But the people who like it, you're smiling now. The people who like it, they come in. The ones that don't, and that's okay. So I would say that is truly the biggest thing. People come in for the atmosphere. Like you said, you walk in and we're right there doing it. Yep. You see it, you smell it. So I would say the atmosphere.
You've been involved with the passport program, you said, since it started. Why is that?
My wife. I thought it was a dumb thing, to be honest. I'm like, who's going to travel the state? You could get a good ribeye anywhere in Nebraska. You can't get one in, Texas or something. They don't have them as good as we do. Why would you drive all over for a good steak? And it's amazing how many people actually, they make it like a couples event. They go all over the place. Yep. I never would have thought people would do that, but times actually, you go back to the COVID, times are different when it first started. Sure. So, yeah, that's how we got started. Andrea thought it was a good idea.
Finally, as we wrap things up, everywhere we've gone, whether it's been a meat locker or a restaurant, we always try to get something. What is something that you'd recommend here that you guys offer that we should try here on our red meat road trip?
Do you like spicy?
We love spicy. I'm glad people keep asking us because we're big spicy fans. So spicier the better.
So Ed and I, when we make a batch of beef sticks, we really like to pull off 10, 15 pounds and try to make things as hot as we can to where you can still eat it. So we've got a ghost pepper cheese stick right now that we've added a little Trinidad,
Okay.
scorpion, but it's not so hot you can't eat it.
Okay.
That would be the thing.
So we'll try the cheese. How about some Nebraska beef?
Well, that's the thing. All Nebraska beef is good.
It's true.
But
It's a good point.
I do have this thing I invented that I'm trying to get off.
Okay.
It is a very thick cut piece of the flat iron, like out of the shoulder clod. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's from the shoulder clod. It's 2.5, 3 inches tall. I cut a checker pattern halfway down. Flip it over, turn it a couple degrees, cut a checker pattern halfway down again. So all of those squares are barely held together. Use butcher twine and tie it up tight. You smoke it or you roast it. You do whatever you want to do on a Traeger or Green Mountain. Cut them twines and all them pieces pull apart like a beefy chicken wing. Dip it in sauce and you can dry rub it, marinate it.
I'm trying to think of it's like a blooming onion, but it's beef.
It's a blooming onion for beef. Yeah. Yep, a finger food kind of thing.
All right.
That would be the thing.
Okay. All right. Well, to check that out as well. All right. As we wrap things up again, Brent, if somebody wanted to stop by, if they're a part of the Beef Passport program, talk about your hours and where you're located.
We're here at 1001 13th Street in Aurora. We're right by Pinnacle Bank. We are here 7 to noon and 1 to 5 on Monday through Friday, 8 to noon on Saturday. Unless you call ahead, we're always around.
Okay, very good. Well, that is Brent Winfield, who is the owner-operator of Aurora Meat Block. As again, we're traveling across Nebraska, part of KRVN Sizzling across Nebraska. We'll have more here on KRVN. All right, we have officially thawed out from the freezer here at KRVN, Sizzling across Nebraska at the Aurora Meat Block. Tyler Cavalli, Jacob Roth along with you. Oh boy, what an experience that was for our radio listeners. If you have not seen the video yet, check it out because you're in for a treat here with Brent Winfield and company. We have not done one of these from the freezer with hanging meat behind us, but that was fun.
Well, no, and we're doing this on the first day that was supposed to get up to 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So I dressed for the outside.
Shorts, by the way.
But I feel like I did not prepare because I don't get cold, but standing in a freezer.
Teeth was chattering.
I did get a little cold. Yeah. I shivered a couple times, but I'm warming up now as we're kind of standing out in the sun just outside. But I mean, a really, really cool facility, really, really cool story as we kind of learned about after the fact that wasn't actually, he talked about how never really wanted to get into it, but you go back up his family tree a couple ways, there's other meat processors and meat butchers, so it's kind of like a destiny thing, is I think what you called it. So really, really cool story with Brent Winfield here at Aurora Meat Block.
And one of my favorite things about this facility is it's everything. Everywhere is different, right? You walk in, you get to see everything that's going on. Cutting meat right in front of you. Obviously, you can buy what you need to. We just saw a gentleman buy some eggs from here, so it's not just meat. But you walk in the facility, and it's wonderful. So this is one of those, as you should everyone, if you're a radio listener, check out the video. But this one is visually appealing for sure. But again, you walk in, it's all right there.
And it's different than a lot of the other places, and it feels like the more and more we go on, you kind of expected them to a certain extent to start to feel the same, but none of them have. As we've been down to Midwest Meats out there in Minden, that felt totally different. This one was probably the closest to Belcher's, but still a very, very different feeling. Bad, good, it's not necessarily better or worse, it's just different. And I mean, that kind of just goes to show how many different opportunities there are on the Nebraska Beef Passport put on by the Nebraska Beef Council.
All while we're a block away from the square here in downtown Aurora, which is incredible. I think we talked about as we were driving up, we expected this to kind of be outside of town. But as he said in the interview, the beauty of this one is he likes this space and where it's at.
Yep, he said it fits his britches. He doesn't really want to mess around with it. He likes where it's at, and it makes a whole lot of sense. A great location, obviously, as you're here right on the bricks here in Aurora.
All right, so stop by the Aurora Meat Block. A must stop, by the way, if you are on the Nebraska Beef Council or on the Nebraska Beef Passport, part of the Nebraska Beef Council is putting this on. Honestly, even if you're not, you need to stop by here as well. Thanks for other sponsors as well, Cross Diamond Cattle, Cross Diamond Meats in Bertrand, the Nebraska Cattlemen, and the Dawson County Cattlemen. For Jacob Roth, I'm Tyler Cavalli for KRVN's Sizzling Across Nebraska, the Red Meat Road Trip.